Alright, what's up everybody? It's your boy Akeem and welcome to this vlog. Moving forward, more scout reports for the 2016 NFL Draft. For this vlog, I'm here to talk about Derrick Henry, the running back coming out of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Helping the team win the national championship this past season. He had a spectacular year, breaking the SEC record for most rushing yards in the season with 2,219 yards on the ground and 28 total touchdowns. He was a phenomenal player this year, averaged 5.6 yards per carry, and he won this year's Heisman Trophy. Well deserved. It was really between him and Christian McCaffrey. Now, I do believe that Christian McCaffrey should have got the award, but Derrick Henry is another player who deserved the award as well, playing as great as he did in the SEC conference, the toughest conference in college football. Now, he's actually from Munich, Florida, in which I thought he was going to stay in state and play for either Florida State or Florida, but decided to go to Alabama. And honestly, I can't blame him. Coming out of high school, I understand why players do go to Alabama, because when you play under Nick Saban, you definitely have a better chance coming to the next level in the National Football League. And he has a lot of great players coming out of Alabama because of his tutelage as head coach for Nick Saban. Now, during his first couple of seasons for the Alabama Crimson Tide, Derrick Henry was more of a backup player at running back. His freshman year, where in 2013, he rushed for just under 400 yards on the ground, but 10 yards per carry. He started to elevate a lot more in 2014 with 990 yards on the ground, backing up TJ Yeldon. Now, during the most recent years for the Alabama Crimson Tide, they have a trend in which they actually use the younger players as backup running backs and the older veteran running backs the opportunity to become the workhorse and the lead backs for their teams. We've been seeing this over the years with Mark Ingram. Then he passed the torch to Trent Richardson. Then Richardson passed the torch to Eddie Lacy. Lacy passed the torch to TJ Yeldon. And now TJ Yeldon passed the torch to Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry emerged this past season. And he is my number 2 running back entering this year's draft. Now, it's time for me to talk about his strengths and weaknesses. First, his strengths. Now, you can use both as a strength and weakness with his size, and I'll explain that weakness in a second. And with his size, he's 6'3", 242 pounds. This is a big man, and he will give you those tough yardage after contact. Reminds me a lot of Marshawn Lynch for the Seattle Seahawks, who is now retired. Now, no, he is not like beast mode when he breaking tackles like beast mode, but he could definitely give you some tough yardage after contact, and that's where he was actually grinding things out against opposing defenses, wearing things out due to the ground attack of Alabama. Now, I will give Jake Coker some credit. He did make some good passes this past season, but it was really Derrick Henry who was the workhorse, and that also shows his durability. He could definitely be handed the football throughout a game and wear out defenses, and he definitely displayed that this past season. Other strengths that he does have is that he's a lot faster than what most people expect. Now, with a man of his size, he has great 4.5 speed, and he can even outrun even the secondary players of defenses, and we've seen that a lot this past season. And also, I do like to point out that he is a decent blocker when he is asked to block. I have to give him some credit for that. Things that he still needs to work on as far as his blocking technique, but with a man of his size and his power, he definitely blocks well against head-to-head one-on-one situations and pass blocking schemes. Now, he does have some weaknesses though, and I first talked about how his size is a strength, but his size can also be a weakness. Because of his size, this actually kind of puts the offensive line for NFL teams more and more pressure and open up bigger holes for him. Usually with smaller backs like 6 feet, 210 pound backs compared to 6'4", 242, they don't. Offensive linemen do not have to really open up holes the way they have to do for Derrick Henry. But Derrick Henry does have great speed, and because in the NFL the speed is so quickly, gaps close very quickly. You want a smaller guy to spring through gaps, and this is going to be a tough task for Derrick Henry. Another thing, due to his size, he has long legs, and it kind of motions over to his running style. He kind of can run straight up in the line of scrimmage sometimes, will make him very vulnerable for big hits and even chop tackles under the legs, which makes him very vulnerable with his legs. And because he has like skinny calves and skinny legs, a little bit skinnier than the top of his body, most of his weight is at his upper body compared to his lower body. His lower body, if you really pay attention, is not as thick as big big as his upper body, so he kind of needs to bounce that out a little bit, and then he makes himself a little bit vulnerable for open hits. Now, the last thing I have noticed, and this is the obvious thing, is that he only had 17 receptions during his career for the Crimson Tide, which draws concerns if he could be used as a receiver at the next level. And we already know that since the NFL is more of a pass-happy league as opposed to running the football, they needed a good all-around running back who could not only run the football, but catch the football out of the backfield. And he didn't really display that too much during his career for Alabama, so which is a couple of concerns for me. Now, for my projection, I actually have him going at least in the second round of this year's draft. Possibly in the first round because of his size and his talent, but I see him more as a second round pick because many teams they could focus on getting running backs in the later rounds, in which we have been seeing in most recent years, especially with Le'Veon Bell's turnout for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We actually can see that teams can pick up running backs in the later rounds, because when it comes to running backs, it's either if you have it or you don't. And if you can see, have good vision and use your talent, that's really much all you need. Running backs are, I think, a little bit more easier in selecting a running back compared to other positions. So I see that Derrick Henry going in the second round, possibly in the first, but I still have Ezekiel Elliott as my number one back. Now, the next time I'm going to catch you guys will be in a couple of minutes. I have more scout reports for today. Thank you for watching this vlog. I'm your man, Keenan McCall. Be easy.